Welcome, friends, to Crazy Women Country, where women's voices matter. We bring you the greatest female voices in the music industry, from the artists, songwriters, and producers, to managers and executives, and all the women who make the music industry what it is today. Thank you for joining us. Welcome, friends, to a new music release. I'm Donna, and today we are here with Miss Danni Nicholls and her new release, Little Fictions. How are you doing today?
I'm very well. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Always. And I'm so excited. This is like one of my favorite newest songs ever. I think It's the cinematic quality. So
that's lovely to hear. I'm glad. Thank you.
Tigger says she loves it too. Hey,
great.
Say hi. Okay. Oh, well, without further ado, we'll play the song and then we'll chat some more about it. I hope you all love the song, and here it is.
Immovable constellation, a sky of contradictions, and terrified of wishing for more. It was beautiful, but now it's different. I've been dreaming little fictions, losing my conviction that you're gonna fill this space, carved by doubt. I'm sick of this place. I've gotta get out. I can't blame the stars for not aligning. Can't blame the path for how it's winding, or blame fate for its bad timing, choosing someone else. Can't blame the past for how it hurt me. I can't blame her for not returning. All I can do is keep learning not to blame myself. Painfully unforgiving, I gathered all the wreckage, made it into weapons aimed at me. That brutal knife in my own hand can't save my life. It's not who I am. I can't blame the stars for not aligning. I can't blame the path for how it's winding, or blame such bad timing, choosing someone else. Can't blame the past for how it hurt me. I can't blame her for not returning. And all I can do is keep learning not to blame myself. To blame myself.
So, like I said before, we played the song. I love it. It just has such a cinematic quality to it. So the song, now I know you've mentioned this before with me, that it was written in February of 2020 before the pandemic. You want to tell us a little bit about the writing?
Yeah. So yeah, just a few weeks before our first lockdown here in the UK, which was end of March. So yeah, a few weeks before that, I got together with a friend of mine from the US actually, and we'd written before. Great writer and friend of mine called Rebekah Powell. And so yeah, she was in London and reached out to say, "Would you like to write?" And of course, I went down there, and yeah, we've known each other quite a few years, and being songwriters generally, even if we hadn't known each other before, we had got straight into the depths of sharing our deepest, darkest life secrets and what was going on, and we were sort of just having a catch up really and saying, yeah, what's going on with you and where are you at? And it was quite an organic conversation, and fairly early on it was quite obvious that the direction of what we were talking about, what was going on in life for real, would end up being maybe the bed of this song, and that is really where it was born from, and that's why it ended up being really about I guess the crux of this song is about doubts, self-doubt. And at the time, I was sort of questioning a lot of things that were happening in my life, and not feeling super at ease with the path or what certain relationships, and everything just didn't seem like a firm grounded, I didn't have a footing in anything, and I was feeling a bit all over the place. And what wasn't helping was that chatter that you're trying to move forward in your life or make decisions, and there's just these voices that are trying to derail you or confuse you. And I feel like a lot of people have that, those negative voices. And so we're talking about that, and it's about a few things really. There's a mixture of things. There's that sort of element, but also there's another element of sort of acceptance of life doing what life does, being unpredictable and being a series of struggles sometimes, and that's part of it. That's part of living. And there is this tendency to sort of turn it around and blame yourself when things don't go your way, or when certain things are a struggle, that kind of thing. And to turn in on yourself is the very worst thing you can do in those moments, and I'm trying to always remind myself, you're just a human. You don't have to be so hard on yourself. Sometimes things will go wrong, and it's up to you to, stand up to, be resilient in that, and not attack yourself. So yeah, I guess there's a reminder to myself, and also, hopefully a reminder to everyone to befriend themselves as opposed to turn in on themselves. So yeah, there's a few things in there. We got, like I say, pretty deep and heavy pretty quickly, and it turned into this song. But I do want it to have that sense of hope as well. Like, yeah,
it definitely does. It just
I hope so.
like,
whether it's in the lyrics or the instrumentation, and also in the feel that the music creates, just this soaring, swelling. But I want it to be empowering. So yeah, that's a little bit about it. I don't know if I answered your question exactly, but
no, that's perfect.
Yeah, it was a fairly smooth. It sort of tumbled out, and the ease at which Rebekah and I wrote with, and it just seemed to feel right. And I certainly felt very a sense of healing after having written it. It was a very cathartic thing to write, and usually when I feel that, I feel like I'm on the right path of a song, Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's the best part about the song, is that it is so universally relatable. And we've all had those voices, we've all had those doubts and those moments of, where we kind of beat ourselves up for something that, we tried to do something and maybe it didn't turn out as we expected, or well, and it was kind of a failure. So we beat ourselves up a little, and that hope is, I think, what we need to step away and say, okay, well, that was our lesson. Maybe that was what we were needed to learn at this time to move forward. So that's a great message in the song.
Great. Well, I'm glad.
Oh, so I would like to talk a little bit about this. Now, obviously, you wrote it when you were in the UK. So after most of the lockdowns, you were able to come to Nashville and record it.
Yeah. So Nashville is a place that I've back and forth to for many, many years, sort of 11, 12 years. And all of my recording, all of my main studio releases have been recorded in Nashville. So, and over the years, I've built family style friends and connections there. And so when there was a lockdown and we just couldn't travel, it was hard to reconcile the fact that I just couldn't go to that place, my happy place, or the place where I feel very at my best, I suppose. So the first chance I got to go back, I really did jump at that. And actually the borders hadn't reopened yet. And so I had to jump through a lot of hoops and do a lot of paperwork and just hope that they would agree to let me through. And they did. So that was great. So that was September, October time, 2021. And yeah, I got to my base there in Nashville, and I stay at a studio where my friend runs the studio, and there's some accommodation there that I usually stay in, and he was like, immediately, what do you have? What can we do? What can we work on? What do you want to create? And so at first I didn't know what to say, because I hadn't really written very much over the lockdown. I really wasn't very prolific. I struggled to be creative musically. But then I realized that I had never recorded Little Fictions. I'd played it all throughout the pandemic on all of these live streams that I'd started doing, that everyone started doing. And, thank goodness for those. But I played it so much that I forgot it wasn't already in my sort of recorded catalog. So I was like, this is what we could do. This is the one. And I can put it out as a single because I just would love to share this song with the world. So we just did that. Steven organized for some great musicians to come through that he thought that would be right. So yeah, Matt Pearson, Tim Lauer, Chris Benelli, wonderful musicians, and they just they came in and just did such a great job on building the basis of the track. And yeah, so we got the bones of it over in Nashville. And then I knew immediately, and I think I've always heard the song very distinctly in my head, what I wanted. So I was trying to build this track as I had heard it for so long. Such a perfectionist. So that was like, the poor guys were like, really, can't we just be a bit more chill? And I know it needs to be exactly like this. But I had this idea that I wanted strings, and it had to be, epic cinematic strings. The song is big, it's got key changes, and it builds and builds, and it just needed that thing to support it. And I was actually in the UK, we had very strict lockdowns, and you couldn't see anyone unless you could create these bubbles where you would just choose a couple of people that those were the only people you would see. And so I was in like a friendship bubble with a great friend of mine who also happens to be a composer, very handy. And I played the song to him and said, if I ever get to record this song, or if I ever put it out, I need you to do the strings. And we talked about it, and it was all this, it was this shining beacon of a thing that we could do in the future when the world would be better. And so it really was a really special thing to actually finally get to do what we talked about for so long. And Johnny Parry is his name, and he's so talented. And he created this epic string part. And when the two things were put together and mixed together, that's it. That's exactly what I heard. So pretty pleased with that situation.
Oh, well, it's beautiful. And I will admit, the first time I heard the song, and now I had heard during lockdowns and stuff like that, I try to get as much music in as I could, because everyone's doing live performances. And I think I caught one or two of your lives, but I'm very rare on catching lives. I usually get the repeats. So, so when I had heard the whole song recorded, I totally stopped. I was like, you know, the first time I'd heard Norah Jones, Come Away With Me recorded, I was like, that moment where you're just like, it's totally immersed in that moment. Wow. You're just like, oh, this is such beautiful music.
Well, that's such a high compliment. Thank you. I'm so, I'm glad that, it resonates, or it creates feeling, or it moves, it moved you. That certainly was the intention. So good to hear.
Yes, it is wonderful. Well, I look forward to new music from you coming out in the rest of this year. Thank you so much for joining me today. And everyone, check out the description. You'll get the link to the song. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
If you enjoyed today's episode of Crazy Women Country, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Be sure to click the subscribe button for new interviews weekly. And thank you, friends, for joining us today on Crazy Women Country, where women's voices matter.